Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I am Reverend Frances Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you to magnify your miracles. Today, we're continuing in my little mini series that I'm doing around money and prosperity. So, last week, if you didn't catch it, I did a book review on the dynamic laws of prosperity. Today, we're going to be talking about the money block that women don't even know that they have. This is a good one. You're going to want to really listen to this one. But before we get into that, let's take a deep breath together. Let's get ourselves grounded and centered. As always, if you're driving, please keep your eyes on the road, but we want you to bring your awareness to your breath. And why are we doing this? We're doing this so that we can just get into a more receptive state. And every time we do this, we start to feel the energy of what I call the divine presence. So just take a few deep breaths with me and starting to feel that calmness, that peacefulness. That is the energy of the divine presence making itself known to you. And knowing that whatever you need to hear today to help you magnify your miracles is exactly what you're going to be hearing. Let's take one more deep breath in gratitude and we can begin. All right, my friend, well, welcome once again. And here we are talking about this topic of prosperity and money specifically, because prosperity covers a wide variety of aspects of our lives, prosperous in health, prosperous with relationships and friendships, prosperous in every area. But we're going to be talking today specifically around what I call the money block. It's a money block specific to women that they don't even know that they have. Now, the truth of the matter is, you could be a man and you could probably have this block, but it is present pretty much in every woman that I've ever worked with who tells me that they're having some kind of money issue. So if you've been having a money issue, lean in. I really want to see if this resonates with you. Now, I've been doing this work with people for a long time. I've been working with people, I don't want to say how many years, but it's over at this point. I think it's over 30 years because I started right in my early 20s, and I've worked with people in all aspects of where they are in life, and I've seen a thread. And there's two different things I'm going to be sharing with you today about this money block. I have yet to see a woman who's having challenges with money who does not also have challenges with relationships. Now, I'm going to explain this to you, and I'm going to explain why and the two different ways that this can kind of show up. But I have yet to meet a woman having money challenges who's not always also having some sort of relationship challenge. Now, that doesn't mean that it's in your marriage. It could be with your children. It could be with your parents. It could be with your boss. It could be somewhere. But that energy usually shows up when people have chronic money stuff going on. So let me tell you what my perspective is and what I've learned over the years and some things that you can start doing about it. So first of all, you might be saying, well, that's not me. Or you might be saying, oh my God, that's totally me. And whatever you're saying, I want to hear. I want to hear what you have to say. So please leave me a comment and let me know. Is that me? Is that you? I'd love to know if you resonate with this. So let me explain a little bit more. In the chakra system, the 7 chakras that, I work with people, and I can intuitively dialogue with these energy centers. I can intuitively read them. And when I'm working with people, most of the books that are out there that are about chakras, that are also about money, are going to tell you that it's the second chakra, that your second chakra, not your solar plexus, your sacral chakra is your money chakra. And I kind of believe that. And I kind of don't believe that. But for our purposes, we're going to go with that for this particular episode. The reason I say I kind of don't believe that is because I've seen money issues in almost all of the chakras, depending upon where you're coming from. So if money is like only about survival for you and you're just trying to get by, you probably are more in your root chakra and your money is being expressed there. If you're having more like wanting to feel empowered and power struggle and all, your money is probably going to show up more in your third chakra. But for most of us, it's a good guess to say that it's connected to the second chakra, because the second chakra is the chakra of relationships. So when I work with people, the big three things I look at are emotions and creativity and relationships. Those are the big three energies of that second chakra. And you can tell what's going on. There's other things too. There's physiological things going on, organs in that part of the body. But these are the energetic things that I usually talk about with people and that I tend to look at. So right there in that center, why would that be an area where people talk about money? Because money is a medium of exchange. It's an exchange of energy, right? So I'm going to, mow your front lawn in exchange for the energy I'm putting out. You're going to give me, in our day and age, you're going to give me some money to do that. So it's an exchange, and money really comes through other people. Now, I tend to believe that money is a divine instrument, and I really try to hold it that way. That it is expression of divine energy, and it's symbolic of that. But in our culture, most of us just see it's just an exchange of energy. And so in order for us to receive more energy, usually we're in relationship to another person, whether that is someone that's hired us, a boss of some kind, or something along those lines. So it would make sense about that chakra. So how does this money block show up? Well, the first thing is that if you're having any challenges in your relationships, you have some lack of harmony, let's put it that way, lack of harmony. Most of us tend to protect ourselves when we're around people. So it could be an extreme thing, like you don't feel safe around somebody, like actually safe, or it could be maybe somebody is, not supportive of you or kind of critical or whatever it might be. We tend to close down our energy centers. We shut them down. And it's a thing that we do that makes us feel safe. And one of the things I love doing when I work with people is showing you how you can keep your energy centers open and still be taking care of yourself, which is really important. And everybody's wired a little differently. So it's not like I can tell you, here's the top 3 things to do, because everybody's different and what's going to work for you. But what I can tell you is, if you notice that you're around people that are critical, or there's a lot, like maybe they're argumentative and there's a lot of disharmony, look and see what's going on with your money. Is your money easily flowing or not? Because your energy is probably hunkered down. And when the energy starts to close off, guess what? All the good stuff that's flowing to you can't get in. So often when I just check somebody's chakras, this is one of the very first things I'm looking for. It's not even an intuitive thing, is I'm just looking what energy is open, what energy is struggling, what energy centers are open. And if somebody comes and they have their second, their fourth, or their sixth center, those are your feminine centers. Those are your receiving centers. 1, 3, and 5 are more the masculine centers. They're more the outgoing. Their energy is moving outwards from those energy centers. Energy is coming in more from these energy centers. So I call them, these are the more feminine centers. If you're not feeling safe, if you're not feeling heard, if there's anything that you need to do, if it doesn't feel good to be vulnerable, those energy centers will just close down. Now, what happens when that happens is it's like a little database and it goes offline. And now you're walking around and your heart chakra is not open. So you're like, what should I do? What's the right thing? Where's my guidance? I don't know, because I can't tell what's going on. Similarly, in the second chakra is going to be your emotions, and you might not feel anything. You might be a little bit numb, or perhaps you're stuck in a particular emotion and you can't move through that because that little database is offline. So just like in your computer, you can have the best software, but if you can't load it, if you can't get it to open, if you can't run that program, you don't have access to the wisdom of that, right? Makes sense. So similarly, that's how it is with your chakras. So how that shows up around money is you might be praying. You might be doing your affirmations. You might be even doing your marketing if you're an entrepreneur. And it's going to bounce right off you because you're not actually open to receive it. And you're going to be thinking, but I am open to receiving money. I am open to receiving it. But over here, you're having relationship issues, tension at home, problems with your spouse, problems with your kids, problems with your in-laws, or maybe you have problem customers. I've seen this with a couple of my clients recently where they took on clients that were really not a match for them, and they did it for the money. They did it for the money. And it ended up backfiring because it created a lot of angst in my client, and it brought up old things from their childhood and that need to protect themselves, and whoosh, it goes right up. And the next thing you know, their income starts to go down, their business starts to go down, and they're like, what's happening? I'm like, it's all right. We just got to get you, feeling good again. And sometimes what they do is they'll delegate that client to another person, or you might even just say, I'm going to finish with this client and then I'm not going to do this again. And having that boundary and knowing what it is and how it impacts you can make a really big difference. So I want you to take a moment now and think about this. Where in my life am I having lack of harmony in my relationships? Where am I not feeling supported? Where am I even feeling like it's not okay to be vulnerable? And look to see how can you eliminate or at least minimize your contact with those people. Now, there's inner work that you can absolutely do. You can forgive them. You can forgive yourself. That's the most important thing. You can do all kinds of things to open your chakras back up, all kinds of meditations and things. But if that underlying feeling of, I'm not loved, I'm not okay, I don't feel safe, if that is coming up for you, it's going to be really hard for you to welcome in even more money. And I find that this happens with women pretty consistently because women are very connection oriented. So these feminine centers are actually your superpower. Your ability to feel and connect is a superpower that women really have. But when we're in situations where we're not honoring ourselves, or we're not being honored, or we're allowing ourselves to be in situations where we're not honored, these superpowers start to work against us. So that's the first thing I want you to take a look at. The other thing that shows up as what I'm going to call a money block, it's really subconscious and most people aren't even aware of it. Most women aren't even aware of it. So when I'm talking to somebody who says, I'm doing all the things and I'm not manifesting more money or whatever it might be, one of the things I take a look at is what do they really desire? And a lot of times a woman will come to me and she'll say, "Oh, but I'm wanting to manifest this business. I'm wanting to manifest all this stuff, whatever it might be." And when I take a look at her energy and she gets honest with me, what she really wants is to really be in a relationship. That's what she wants. And I think in our culture, we're so driven to have a career and be successful and all of that. And that does work really well for some people. But a lot of women feel funny about it. They feel funny about the fact that they want to have, love in their lives. They really want to have that love energy, and they don't think they can, or maybe they've gotten hurt in the past and they're just not sure. So then they hyper focus on getting their business going or some other thing that is important. There's validity there, but it's not the thing that is the biggest in their heart. What they really want is that love, that relationship. Now that could be a romantic thing. Maybe what they're really wanting is to have children. Maybe what they're really wanting is to, be part of a community or a family or something like that. But they're wanting that. They're wanting that sense of connection. And that's a stronger desire than the one that they're conscious of. And on the surface level, they're like, oh, I really want more money. I really want more money. I want to bring in money. I want to do all these things. But that's not what's really true in their heart. And the universe is always going to respond to your dominant feeling. It's always going to respond to the thing that you're vibrating in. So if you're vibrating in this energy of love, like this is the thing, and you're over here doing all your affirmations about success, it's going to be a little disconnect going on. So what I recommend is you do both. So if you know this is you and you're like, oh yeah, Reverend Francis, that is me. I'm really ready to experience big love in my life in whatever way that would be. Own that. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be afraid of it. Just be like, yeah, that's it. And you could be like, I don't know how this is going to happen, And that's okay. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. One of my favorite stories is one of my former clients who I love so much. When I met her, she was 83. I think she started working with me when she was 83. And I said, "Oh, how long have you been married?" She's been married 3 years. She married the love of her life when she was 80. She's now, I think, in her 90s. And such an inspiration that she didn't find him till she was 80. And such a happy, happy, loving couple. They are so sweet. So just to say, it's never too late for you, and you don't know how that's going to happen. You don't need to know how it's going to happen. All you need to know is that it's a true desire, because the universe is going to respond to that. So I say, okay, then let's start owning that, and owning, like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am, in a loving partnership or whatever it is that you're wanting. And I'm so happy and grateful that I'm prosperous in every area of my life, and I have more than enough money. I have X amount in the bank, like whatever it is that you want to say, try to have both. You don't have to choose either I'm going to have money or I'm going to have a relationship. I can have love, because love and money is at the frequency of love. Love is the highest frequency there is. And the more we're in the energy of love, the more money we can bring to us, which is why when you're having lack of harmony in your relationships and you're out of the love vibration, your money is going to suffer. Now, if you're one of those people that's not the case, bless you. And I can't wait to read your book, because I want to know, how did you do that? Everybody that I know, and myself included, whenever I'm having any kind of struggle around that area and the love vibration in my life is off, it's out of harmony, I see it. There's a consequence. Luckily, you can go into gratitude. Gratitude is one of the things that you can do to start getting yourself back in harmony with the love vibration. So take a look at those things. I'd love to know from you. Have you noticed anything along those lines? Have you noticed that when your relationships are a little bit off? Now, obviously, there's a ton of books out there about money in general. And I encourage you to take a look at those, because I'm not saying this is the only money block there is. You could have a lot of different things, but I'm assuming that you've already done some of those things. So you're not overspending, you're looking to bring in more money, you're, not going into debt, like all the practical left brain things, those are important. Balance your checkbook, be present with your money. All of that's really, really important. Honor it. Because why? That's about having a relationship with your money. And I think that relationship is the key to financial success for me personally. And for women in general, I find that this is really important. But if you're doing those things and you're still running into trouble, take a look and see, where am I having some relationship issues? Where am I out of harmony? Where am I feeling unsafe? Where am I feeling like I need to protect myself from being vulnerable? I had a client one time who had an employee, and that employee was really aggressive and very abrasive, and just made it so that she didn't even enjoy her own business anymore, because this particular employee was problematic. And as soon as she got rid of the employee, her business started to flourish. You are a highly sensitive being. You're a highly sensitive person. These things really matter, and they really impact you. So I really recommend you take a look at this and do a little inventory. Just get your journal out and look at your primary relationships, and notice, just ask yourself the question, how do I feel around, and fill in the blank. How do I feel around my husband? How do I feel around my wife? How do I feel around my mother-in-law? How do I feel around my mother? How do I feel around my son? How do I feel around my daughter? How do I feel around my boss? How do I feel around my employee? How do I feel around anybody, my neighbor? Look to see. These little things are like little holes being popped in your little balloon, and it takes the air right out of your money balloon. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be prosperous and happy and healthy in every way that you can, so you can continue to magnify your miracles. So, my friends, that's what I wanted to share with you, the not so obvious block that women don't even know they have around money. I think it's a really good thing to be aware of and take a look at on a regular basis. And if you start to notice that your money is a little bit funny, take a moment, take a little reflection time and look to see, where am I out of harmony? Where am I, you know? And Mother Mary's telling me right now to remind you, the biggest one, of course, is our out of harmony with ourselves. Are we having a good relationship with ourselves? And are we honoring that? That's a little bit more third chakra, but Mother Mary's telling me she wanted me to include that. So I am including that. All right, my friend. Next week, I'm going to be sharing with you a really simple prosperity prayer that works wonders. And it's probably one you've not heard before. My coach told this to me a couple of weeks ago. I was like, that is awesome. So I'll be sharing that with you next week as we continue our little series on prosperity and money. If you know someone who could benefit from this, please feel free to share this with them, share it on social media, share it with your friends or your family, anyone you know who could use some inspiration and a boost of encouragement. I so appreciate it. And if you can, I would love it if you could leave me a review on Apple. That would be so, so helpful. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to get to spend this time with you, my friend. And always, always remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is to know your miracle is already here. It's already here. All right, my friend, bless you. Bye-bye.